Very good, very good. So, now that we've lit the lamp, what does it mean? What does lighting of the lamp mean? What? You have to raise your hand, okay? I love the way you raise your hand. Yes, my dear. Welcoming home. So what does it mean? Okay, we've said welcome. What else does it mean? Welcome to the Parikrma family. Now officially, you're part of the Parikrma family. Okay. Anna's name is Ravindranath Anna. Ravindranath Anna. He is Colonel Ravindranath Anna. What does it mean? What does Colonel mean? Okay. Anna's from the army. Right? You weren't even born when we all said, right? You said, you know, we are proud to be India, we are part of India, India serves us and all that, right? We spoke a lot of things about India, but what does India mean? Who takes care of India? Yes? How do we, you know, even Parikrma takes care of India. How do you think Parikrma takes care of India? Yes, my dear?
By not littering.
By not littering. Please clap for him. Very good. You know, you don't have to be Narendra Modi. You don't have to be the Chief Minister. You can do small things wherever you are by not littering. Very good. How else can you take care of India? Think. Yes? Yes, Baba, you come and tell me. How can you tell? You don't? I don't ask your friend. You come and tell me. Okay, happen for India, right? We all said we take care. We all talk about army, but we only see the uniform, right? When we come near Vivek Nagar or when there's somebody this side. But what does it mean? What is the army? What does the army do? What does it mean to be part of the army? What does it mean to sacrifice? What does it mean to serve? Okay, let me just give a little bit of introduction to Ravindranath Anna, the little that I know of him. Actually, I know Ravindranath Anna through one of my friends. Okay, and Ravindranath Anna was instrumental in, you know, we all say India, India. Someone has got to keep India safe. We keep our school safe by taking care of the school, by ensuring nothing, you know, untoward happens in the school. And as adults, we all take care of you. And as children, you all take care of the younger ones, the older ones take care of you, and so on. As teachers, we also take care, you know, to ensure that nothing happens to you all. While you're in a school, and maybe even in the community, your mom, dad, or whoever is there takes care of you. But who takes care of India? Yeah, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will make a lot of speeches. Yeah, he'll say, Swachh Bharat and Man Ki Baat and all that. Yeah, but then there's somebody who's actually taking care of India, making sure that all of us are able to sleep well at night. Play, sit over here. We are confidently sitting over here because we know we've got brave people out there at the borders, taking care, protecting India, so that people like you and I can sit over here, study, work, right? And so this was, Anna will share about, you know, the things that happened in that, at that point of time in the year 1999 and 2000, yeah, if I'm correct. Okay, when India had to, when people like Ravindranath Anna and another, you know, we call them heroes. Heroes are not the ones that we see on the screen, children. When we go, it's very easy for Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, or Vijay, or Rajnikant, everyone to go dishum, right? That happens because somebody is sitting and directing. But people like Ravindranath Anna, Padmapani Acharya, who's another martyr, we'll talk about him, you know, later on. These people stood there right on the top of that freezing cold, okay, and made sure that Pakistan did not come into India, did not take away the sanctity of India.
The members of Parikrma and their children. Kannada matadara nadiyutta?
English,
English? English?
Yes.
When you say nation, she has been saying, what do you understand by a nation? Is it people? Is it land? Is it wealth? Is it tradition? Is it language? What is nation?
Yeah.
What is nation? When you say nation, nation, everybody says I am nation, I am nation. What is nation?
Everything is nation.
Everything is nation. Even killing people is nation.
Language, speech, religion.
So, no. So, do you require a space for being a nation, or you can be a nation without having any space? You require space. Okay. See, the best definition I have heard of nation is, you like it so much, something which you like so much, you are ready to die for it. Okay, if you like India, if you are ready to die for it, then India is a nation for you. If you are not ready to die for it, then India is not a nation for you. It is a place of residence. Okay, where you are living. You may be happy living there. But the question is, when you say I am an Indian and I want to, say, then you say, okay, because I like this so much, I want it to continue this way, I will be ready to die. That is required. Okay, it's not that everybody has to die, because if everybody dies, there is no nation. Everybody is dead. That is not the thing. But people will have to be ready to sacrifice themselves if you really want the nation to survive and grow. So when we say ready to die, now ready to die, does it have a religion? Does it have a language? Are you ready to die for a religion? No, you are not for religion, you are dying. Are you ready to die for a language? You don't die for a language. Are you ready to die for a region, a place? It says, this is my place, I am only ready to die for this. You are ready to die for the whole country. Okay. So, nation is something above religion, above language, above region. If Kengruze, Lieutenant Kengruze, who is from Nagaland, you know where is Nagaland? Okay. What language do they speak there? You don't even know. Okay. Okay. Nothing wrong, but that person fought and died where? In Kashmir. Was it his country? Or was it his region? Did the people speak the same language? Did he know Kannada? But still he fought. Why?
Nation.
Because he believed in the idea of India, nation. So this country, you have to first of all believe that this country is for everybody who are here, who believes in this idea, irrespective of religion, caste, creed, region, language, all of them are not important. What is important is that we are people of India, we want to be good, we want to become better. For that, whatever sacrifice is required, we are ready to make that sacrifice. Okay, we had breakfast and it was sponsored by the family of late Padmapani Acharya. Padmapani Acharya was one of my company commanders. Okay, so Padmapani Acharya, when we were attacking an area known as Three Pimples and then Lone Hill, Padmapani Acharya was in charge of capturing that Lone Hill. When the enemy was sitting on top, the temperature was about -5 degrees, that means water will freeze, very cold. If you take out water and pour, the water will become ice immediately. Okay, and altitude is 15,000 feet. Bangalore is, what is the altitude of Bangalore? 3,000 feet. 15,000 feet. Stratosphere means where up to where living beings are there. It is 30,000 feet. So 15,000 is halfway up. Okay, and most of the living beings are on the ground and below. Above 15,000 there are hardly any living beings. It is that, and wind will blow you off if you stand. If you are not careful on the edge, it will throw you out. That fast wind will be there.
Can
Okay.
you breathe that without oxygen?
No, oxygen is. But oxygen is so less that what oxygen, if you take 10 steps here, with that oxygen, you can take only 5 steps. So that when you take 2 steps, you will feel like as though you are running. You walk, you feel as though you are running. And enemy sitting on top, Padmapani Acharya led his people. And he was as close as 10 meters. And when they were stopped. Okay, and then he spoke to me. Sir, this is it. I said, just hold on, we will be moving from there. He said, you can't hold on, we need to charge, and he charged. And then they captured that area, and because of them, though he was captured. But he got a bullet injury, because enemy was also firing. Okay, so he got bullet injury and he died. Like him, there were many soldiers who died. But what do you have to learn from a soldier? Weather was bad, physical condition is very tough. Okay, and threat to life was there, you can get killed. But was there anyone looking at them, whether somebody is teaching, like your teacher is looking at, are you doing this work or not? Was somebody looking at him? Was somebody looking at the soldiers who were with him, like what are you doing? They were all given work. In that night, nobody was looking, nobody is seeing. It is very cold, very tough, very difficult to walk itself. But he has been given a work, very important work. Every person's work is important. Every soldier's work is important in war. Like that, every person's work is important in peace, in country. But that person still goes and does his work when he knows that I can get killed. But he still goes. He doesn't want. You think soldiers want to die? No, soldiers don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. Okay, there's nothing wrong in not wanting to die. Lot of people think that soldiers say they want to die. That's why they become soldiers. No, we don't become soldiers because we want to die. We become soldiers because somebody needs to be a soldier. There is a risk of getting killed, but we are ready to take that risk. If you are ready to take that risk, you can become. More important thing is that they continue to do their work when no one is looking at them. When they can, without doing that work, keep fight, nobody will come to know that they have not done that work. But still they go and do that work. Why do they do it? Why do they do that work? If nobody is looking, do you all do it? If you say, oh, somebody is looking, okay, so let me relax. All of you do that, no? If somebody is looking, you say, teacher is looking, well, let us read. Teacher is not looking, oh, relax. We do that. Huh? That is where, when we start thinking like that, when police is coming, let us not cross the red light. Police is not there, cross the red light, no problem. Break the rule. So when we are waiting to do right things because of others, then our country cannot grow. If our country has to grow, if our country has to become strong, then we have to ensure that we do our work correctly without somebody looking at it. Because we want to do it ourselves, in our mind and heart tells us, no, this is wrong not to do, I have to do it. What is good for the country, I need to do. Now what is good for the country? A country in this world is judged by the power it wields. Nobody, very philanthropic people tolerate weak people around. They nurture them, they bring them up. An organization like this. You are all lucky to be studying here because somebody thought philanthropically and they said, okay, let us educate these children. These children are from very poor background. Their parents cannot afford to educate them. But you all have got a chance. But not everybody is as lucky as you in India. There are so many children who just don't get education. They don't go to school. Because there is nobody to take them to school. In the world it is like that. The weak will be bullied. That is the rule of the world. It is like that. So if you are, as a nation, if you are not strong, other people will push you. So first we have to be strong as a nation. Where does the strength of the nation come from? Strength of the nation comes from three things. Any strength of any nation comes from three things. First is the ability to protect itself. If you don't protect people in your house, if you don't protect, somebody will come and sleep in your house. Chap who is going in the road will come and sleep, no? If you don't say, get out of my house, this is my house. He'll come and sleep. Okay, because he says, oh, nobody is taking, so let me go, this is my house now. So you have to protect. That is the physical force. Second, by protecting, how do you protect? You can be in the house, but finally you have to survive. So what do you require for that? Food. Food comes from where? So finally you require money. Money. Okay. Money power. That means wealth. The wealth a nation can generate gives it power. So you have physical power, but for now making physical power available, you want to buy a gun. You cannot go and fight with hands. So you require money. You require wealth. Now wealth, where does wealth come from? Where does wealth come from? Huh? From bank? Tax? No, but tax, for somebody to give tax, where does he get money? By doing work, by adding value. When you add value to something, take some, say a farmer tills the land, sows and he grows food. From one seed he has made it into 1,000. A factory worker goes, takes iron, makes it into a knife. Okay, so now when you do this, you start adding value. So all of you have to work to add value. Then when all of us work to add value, then we create wealth for the nation. When we create this wealth for the nation, then we become powerful. But these are all, anybody else can create wealth. But which is the most powerful wealth or powerful source of power? Is when you create knowledge. You create knowledge. Knowledge, when you say, you discover new things, you invent new things, you come up with something else, and you are able to do things at a half the cost. You are saving so much money, you are able to earn more money. So you will have to focus on developing knowledge, developing yourself and creating new knowledge, always thinking how we can as a country create new knowledge, create new, discover new things. Those new thoughts, that is the most powerful thing. Okay, so all of you are there, you have to think that okay, if I want to be part of this nation, I want to do something for this nation, all of you cannot join the army, the whole country cannot go and stand in the border. There is some people who are supposed to be in the border, there are some who are supposed to create wealth, there are some people who are supposed to create knowledge. Decide where you want to go. In a battle, when you fight a battle, where do you get victory? Where is victory? When you say battle, victory. Victory is, where is victory decided? Yeah? Tell me. Huh? Win. No, but where do you win? Where do you win? Hey, somebody has an idea. Where do you win? In a battlefield. Huh?
Battle.
One at a time. Go. Battle, yeah. But where? In a battle, where do you win? Battlefield. Huh? So victory in a. Now if you don't know, you listen to me, huh? Hello. So victory is in the battlefield. Most of us think victory is in the battlefield. Don't we? We think The victory has to be fought and got in the battlefield. That is wrong. Victory is never in the battlefield. Yes?
It is within us.
Correct. Give him a big hand. Victory is in your mind. Okay, you decide how you are going to win. You decide this is exactly how I am going to win, and you go and enact it on the ground. It is like a drama. This is exactly you know what you want to do. So if your thought process is correct, if your reading is correct, and you know exactly how it is going to open up, and you go and open it up like that, victory will be yours. But you did not go thinking, I don't know what will happen, and then you become victorious. It will never happen like that. It may be by some time luck. But victory always is in the first seed of victory is in your mind. If you want to succeed in life, you don't succeed in the society. Where do you succeed? You succeed in your mind. In your mind you think this is exactly how I am going to do, and you prepare for it, and you work for it, you set a goal, and you go, you will get victory. But if you do not decide in the mind, you are expecting others to help you, you are expecting somebody else to do the work for you, you are not going to go anywhere. So, if you succeed today or tomorrow, who will be responsible for it? You all yourself individually, if you succeed, you will be responsible for it. Agreed? Yes. But if you fail, who will be responsible for it? Yes. As long as you are ready to accept that, whether I succeed or fail, it is going to be because of me, and no one else is to blame. You have won the race of the life. Yes. Last point I want to say is, none of us individually is so strong that we can do without help. All of us require help. In some form or other we require help. And this help comes from society. Parents, community, government, everything. But as long as you can tell yourself, it says, I have taken this help, but I have also given it back. So you take help to some, you give it back to someone else. You use something from someone, you don't have to give it back to him only, you can give it back to someone else. Okay. But when you tally up this, when you total this and total this, as long as you have given more than you have taken, you should be happy that you are extremely a good person. But if you are only consumed and consumed and consumed, you should know you are not such a good person, because you are a drain on the nation. Okay. So when each of us contributes more than we take, we make our nation grow. When our nation grows, we become strong. And we become strong, people respect us, and people here will be very happy. And that is what is the essence of life, essence of our being a nation. Thank you very much.